Hey folks, it's Rob with the Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. It is Monday. Happy Halloween, October 31st. And I see we have quite a few people with us, getting a lot of messages asking when are HEXO earnings out. So in this video, I'm going to do a live stream. If you're just tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. But I just got home from, I was out getting some food, just got home from myself. So bear with me. We're going to go through this and let me know what you guys think of the earnings. My body is ready. So I can see we got quite a few people with us, already over 20 people. Wow. So thanks for joining the stream, everybody. Really appreciate it. Before we get started, if you could smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe and tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. But we did get the earnings that just came out. There's some wonky stuff going on right now at the website. But essentially, shout out to Daniel who sent me the AWS file. But going to get into the management and discussion and analysis here in a moment. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on this as well. But let me know your thoughts and opinions if you have seen it. I know there's been a few people that messaged me, said that it was coming on the website. I'll just go over to HEXO's website. So it was showing up here and then it was disappearing again. But I was able to get that from Daniel. Like I said, my friend Daniel, who sent that to me, shout out to him. And actually got the link from the AWS. And you can see here, HEXO Corp Q4 fiscal year 2022 MDA. So we're going to take a look at this deep dive, but essentially, spoiler alert, they did miss on EPS and on revenue estimates. So we were expecting, and I'll dive into it a little bit. I'll give my thoughts and opinions here in just a moment, but I want to just keep it as short as possible. But for the people that want to know right off the bat, obviously we missed based on the thumbnail. 44 million was the estimate, and it came in at 42 million. And EPS was negative 0.0675 forecasted, and it came in at around negative 15 EPS. So that's about, I think it was $102 million loss, which is basically what I said. I said earlier in the Power Group community that I expected that probably they were going to miss on EPS and come in at a beat on revenue. I wasn't expecting a big beat, but I figured they'd come in somewhere in line or a beat. Because the estimates were pretty low, right? They were expecting 52 last quarter and then 44, and we had 45 last quarter. So I was like, oh, surely we can pull off, a small beat here. And there was that late shipment to BC as well. So obviously losing some market share, but they've been cutting some products and things like that, things that aren't selling, right? We know with the little victories, they've got House of Terpenes. There's a bunch of drinks that are still being discontinued. So they're revamping, focusing on those products that are good margin. And we know that HEXO can't even meet demand with their pre-roll and their flower capacity. So they've been trying to increase their output by about 200 to 300%. But obviously this new deal with Tilray is going to help with those synergies. It's going to create cost savings, and it's also going to create just opportunity working with, the best of the best, number one and number two working together. Negative EPS. So it was a pretty big significant development, and nowhere near as like negative 1.94, negative 0.17 or 15, I guess it is. EPS. I didn't do the exact calculation, and I'm not sure if it was in here. You have to bear with me because I'm just going through this with everybody as well. So if you haven't gone through this, don't worry about it. I haven't either, so we'll go through it together. But essentially, they did miss on both of those. I'll just go to the numbers so you can see it here. So net revenue is 42,494,000. And like I said, we were expecting 44.3 million. So that is a miss. And if we go back here, just give me a second, folks. Let's go back to the MD&A. So it did show up on CDAR as well now. Annual report English. So if you're wondering, it's all right there. So forget everything I said about this part of the website. You can just go to CDAR now. If you're not sure how to get there, just go to investors, click on CDAR filing, and it'll be under there. But yeah, not too wild. It wasn't the worst report out of the world, but you know, again, what I said today was expecting probably somewhere around I don't know. I think it was 102. Let me just bring it up here. Whoops, wrong. Too many tabs open. 102. Yeah, total net loss and comprehensive loss. So 102,367,000. So that would equate to about negative 15, I think, EPS. So big miss on that. But again, a pretty big increase from, or it's a lot better than it was the previous quarter, negative 0.34 and then negative 1.94. So we're trending in the right direction. It's going down each quarter. And again, like I've been saying for a while now as well, it's going to be a while before we see the real effects of the closures of the facilities and the synergies from the Redecan deal and all of the layoffs. They laid off about half of their staff essentially. So you're not going to see that right on the first quarter after all of these cost cutting initiatives. And I know it's been a couple of quarters, but you know, this is probably going to take a year. This is probably going to be like 3 or 4 quarter type of deal. So maybe in the next quarter to 2 quarters, I did see an increase and an improvement in their sales SG&A. So there's some gross profit there. So general and administration, they had 12 million, and April 30th, 2022 was 23 million. July 31st, 2021 was 19 million. So it's going down. And that would come as a result of all those layoffs, right? And then, so for the year, it was 81 for the year end. Yeah, it was 81 million. But we are seeing it kind of taper off here, which is nice to see. So again, it's going to take a couple more quarters, I think. One thing I wanted to mention as well was HEXO USA. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this because I know people really hate when the videos go too long. I try to give everybody as much value as possible. So I try to just, make everybody happy as best I can. HEXO USA, we believe that the US MJ market represents a significant opportunity. So basically just says what it said last time. If you haven't read this, then you can just go check it out. Go to CDAR, like I showed you, click on the MDA management discussion and analysis. So company's new management is undergoing an assessment and revision of HEXO USA business plan and sales strategy, which includes research, development, and formulation of creating unique cannabinoid cocktails, which we know they just released the mocktails, right? Which are awesome, tailored to specific applications and maximize the cannabinoid functionality at high level margins. This strategy can be applied to CBD and minor cannabinoids based on products across both regulated markets and non-regulated markets as we await federal legalization. There you go. So we're probably going to see a hemp version of that mocktail, if I had to guess, in the US here pretty soon. Because we know that they're already selling. You can go to drinktrustusa.com and you just have to select the United States and you can buy the Veryvel brand, the CBD drinks in 26 different states right now. And they even have some retail where you can go in. There's only a few states, I think like 6 to 10, like half a dozen or a dozen. But right now you can have 26 states can have it shipped directly to their door. So this is something that they could put in, and they're already saying as we await federal legalization. This includes the formulation and development of cannabinoid beverages, topicals, vanity personal care products to edibles, gummies, and infused pre-rolls. So we know we already have infused pre-rolls, gummies through Redecan, personal care products to edibles. So that will be, like your 48 North, right? And the topicals, beverages is Molson Coors, and then edibles could be another partner. So we'll see how that goes. Still nothing on the CPG partner though. All non-core projects are on hold as per what they told me. And I emailed them when are the financials. They said October 31st, Monday, after market close. Granted, it come late, but probably waiting after market close. They were rushing to get it through, right? They it was due by the end of the day today, or they would have been late. So they would have been subject to, late issues with the exchanges and things like that. So they were working hard to get it out. Came out after hours. Some can speculate whether or not that was intentional. I'm not going to say what I think it is, because it doesn't really matter. It's just it is what it is. And this isn't the first time that it's come out. Sundial had theirs come out really late one time, and Kronos sometimes just doesn't release it at all for months on end. So it is what it is. But one thing I want to say here is during Q4 2022, management ceased its selling efforts of the Fort Collins facility and has concluded to continue to own and actively operate its facility in Colorado. What do you think about that? That's pretty sweet, in my opinion. Does that show that they're even more confident now in the US and reform in the US? I just did a video earlier on today, which was exactly that, talking about Schumer, and Congress is very close to passing MJ banking bill and expungement bill. So things are heating up. Like I said, for a while now, I was expecting an end of year rally, not just in MJ, but in the broader market. And it leading into these November 8th elections next week, it's going to be a huge, huge week for MJ stocks. And like we've been saying, I did a video with Normal, so you can go here, search my videos. Did a video with Morgan Fox, political director from there, and he even said that there was a very, very high likelihood of this passing before the end of the year, safe banking reform. But back to HEXO here. So yeah, I pretty much said everything that I want to say. I don't want this video to go too long, and to be honest, I'm pretty exhausted late in the day today. But let's just see if there's anything else. So negative 7 million on adjusted EBITDA. There it is. Nice. Negative 20. Yeah, so I said negative 0.15, so I wasn't far off. I was just me pulling a number out of my head based on the loss and the amount of shares, because there's 601 million shares. Oh yeah, cool. Let's check the cash and the shares. Cash. Here, my eyes aren't working as good as they were this morning. Company's total cash and cash equivalents has increased to 15.7 million, and unrestricted and restricted funds were reduced by 100,000. Cash held in escrow is 285,000, was utilized to acquire Redican. So it doesn't really go on too much about that. Let's see if it mentions Tilray in here anywhere. So the company reassigns secured convertible notes to HTI. Yada, yada, yada. Acquisition. A lot of this stuff is the same thing that they already mentioned. And international sales. HEXO and Tilray have agreed to leverage Tilray's existing facility in Portugal and will negotiate a mutually agreeable international supply agreement providing for the transfer by HEXO to Tilray of HEXO's customers in certain international markets to the extent legally permitted, and in certain circumstances, HEXO will source and purchase all of its MJ products for international markets, excluding Canada and the United States, exclusively from Tilray. So it looks like they expanded on that a little bit. And maybe I'll do another video later on. I'll actually go through and deep dive into this. But Trust Beverage Co., the company joint venture Molson Coors. Trust is a market leader in developing and producing a vast range of MJ beverages. Yada yada yada. 36% of total sales in the Canadian. Trust beverage products continue to be one of the top MJ beverage market share positions in Canada. Yep, 36% of all total sales. See here. Not much to see. As part of the company's holistic review of its business plan and strategy, management is exploring its options regarding the future of its investment in Truss. Remember how I said they could sell their stake in Truss if they needed, because everybody was like, oh, they're going bankrupt, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, like, there's more options than just the B word, right? They could even sell their position in the Molson Coors JV, and that'd probably be worth a lot of money, right? But yeah, as part of the company's holistic review of the business plan and strategy, management is exploring options. That's interesting. what does that mean? I mean, I guess it could have something to do with Tilray. That's let me just see here, guys. 38 million of impairments. Yeah, not terrible. Then it talks about HEXO USA again. So yeah, it's that's crazy. I didn't expect that. I wonder what that means. You guys have any ideas? If you're viewing this, let me know in the live chat. If you're viewing it after the fact, let me know. But I didn't expect that at all. So Trust Beverage Co. As part of the company's holistic review of its business plan and strategy. As part of the company's holistic review of the business plan and strategy, management is exploring its options regarding the future of its investment in Trust. See section operating expenses for impairment on Trust. Where does it say Trust? Anyway, I guess that's not super important, but I guess we'll figure out. That's pretty vague, so we'll see what comes of it. Oh yeah, and we wanted to check the shares. Common shares. We want common shares. We'll be here all night. Let's see here. Net cash generated. Nope. Still on the HGI stuff. Common shares. July 31st, 2022, 601 million still. So that's good to see that the share count isn't going up. The share count hasn't gone up in a really long time. Ever since the Tilray deal, essentially, and HDI was paid and all that good stuff. But we know that they have $180 million backstop. And as I mentioned before, they could potentially sell their stake in Trust. And now they're reviewing it. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Is it going to be good that comes out of that or what? Let me know what you guys think. But I love Trust. But I mean, who knows? Maybe they're looking for an exit strategy. Maybe they want to sell it for a bunch of, 10, 20, I don't know how much it'd even be worth, to be honest with you. Maybe like 25, 50 million or something like that. Sell their stake in it. What would it be worth? I'm not sure. But yeah, I would assume it would be quite a bit. At least 25 million, I would think. Somewhere around 25 to 50 million for 42% of the company that would put it, at a pretty hefty valuation. So maybe more than that. Maybe 100 million. Can't see it being any more than 100 million, but we'll see what happens. That's pretty much it. Again, just to recap, they missed on their revenue. We were expecting 44, came in at 42, and the EPS was negative 20, and we were expecting negative 0.675. But again, still a pretty big increase or improvement rather than last quarter and the quarter prior to that. So it's nice to see that we're back down into ranges that we haven't been in since June of 2021. So all those cost-cutting initiatives, and again, it's going to take a couple more quarters, I think, in my opinion, before we start to really see the true effects of that. But everything is now on the CEDAR website. Again, if you don't know how to go there, just go to investors, go underneath CEDAR filing, and then that'll bring you up here to the company profile of HEXO. And then here's their MD&A that I've been going off of here on AWS for the duration of this live stream. But essentially, they do have the unaudited annual financial statements here. French version will likely come later, but there it all is. Gonna wrap it up. Let's see where we closed after hours. Still at 19 cents. So I did mention this earlier today as well, that also CGC had record monthly volume today on the NASDAQ. So did MSOS, the ETF. But I did mention this today to POW Group private members that the news today with the news with Schumer and the banking bill, that is very, very good for HEXO's position, because now we just confirmed a daily uptrend with the low, high, higher, low, and higher high. But the problem now is we may react bearishly to these earnings, right? So one would think that we would likely come back down and at least test that higher low. If we lose 17.7 cents, we lose the daily uptrend because we just confirmed it. But we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, which usually means more upside, and we have no resistance until 25 cents. But yeah, they did decide to keep their facility in Fort Collins as well. That was a management decision. So again, it kind of shows their confidence in the U.S. and potential reform in the U.S. But again, the fact that we saw that pretty big move today in the MJ space off the low of the day today on HEXO, we were up about 11%. Still would have liked to close around 20 cents or even above to cushion that blow a little bit, because if we did miss, which we did, we would expect more downside, right? And if we could just kind of go from the high of the day today, we'll go where we close actually to the low, the all-time low. That's about a 14% drop. So I wouldn't expect much more than a 10 to 15% drop tomorrow. So just kind of like what I said before in my previous stream, was not really expecting a big move either way. Even if we beat, it's not gonna sustain itself. It's just gonna pump and fade. And then if we miss it, it's probably not going to be a huge miss in my opinion. I thought, it'd probably be a miss on EPS. Maybe the revenue would come in with a slight beat, or, not by much though. And then that's pretty much what happened. Slight miss on the revenue and pretty big miss on the EPS. So I think kind of everybody was expecting that as well. Like, I don't think anybody was really too blown away. Like, they thought they were going to be blown away by these earnings. So I would say that and they're not having an earnings call. So everything was kind of pointing in the direction that it was probably going to be flat or slightly bad, right? And again, I think it was kind of priced in, but the fact that we're confirming a daily uptrend and we've got two support levels now to go off of, one in the short term, one in the longer term here with a nice base. This could be the last time we drop 10, 15% for a while, because if we get reform in the US, just like the video that I posted earlier today, go check it out if you haven't seen it. Just go to the Power Group YouTube channel. Schumer Congress is very close to passing MJ banking bill. That's why MJ stocks were up today. So we'll jump into the chat here. So yeah, that's not too wild at all. No, I agree. A current stock looks like a good buying opportunity, or good opportunity at only 10 cents for the sector payment processor for companies. Yep. Yeah, I think pretty much there's a ton of good deals out there right now, right? Pretty much all MJs, just fire sales. But yeah, I think I don't know too much about them, but I can't see that going away anytime soon. Cheers. I was considering this too, but what's holding me back is I wonder what special they have that can't be duplicated. Yeah, it's nice to have a moat. Some conversation going back and forth. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much. I won't get too much into the discussion because I want to keep it into to surrender around HEXO. But that's pretty much what I was expecting. But so if you're wondering what I'm expecting tomorrow, I would say we're probably going to be anywhere from, on the worst case, probably be down 10 to 15%, which would put us back to around that 16 cent area support. So I don't think, it's going to be the end of the world, right? Again, this is kind of what we were expecting anyway. And there were some good things in that. There were some positive things in that. Let me know what you were surprised about or not surprised about. What did you like? What didn't you like? Yeah, because this whole trust thing, keeping the Colorado facility, why would they keep the Colorado facility if they were going to sell trusts? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one. That one's throwing me for a loop. But yeah. Very odd. Peculiar. But it wasn't too spooky on Spooky Day. All right, going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for joining the stream. I appreciate it. And, yeah, wow. They definitely had everybody on the edge of their seats there for a while, and it wasn't really too much to really, the numbers weren't too surprising, but it was nice to see some improvements. Obviously, we can get better at things, but does seem that we're trending in the right direction. So we'll see. Hopefully next time they do an earnings call, that would be nice, and get a little bit better on the punctuation of, communicating and bringing this out to retail investors. But it is what it is, as I mentioned before, but going to end it there. Appreciate everybody tuning in. You have a good night, and probably see you for another video at some point tomorrow. But again, smash the like, share the video with anybody that might find value. I would appreciate it. And again, we'll see you on the next video.